especially if you're on top. We all have friends who want everything we have. They want our money, our business, house, car, wife, and dog. Those are our friends. Our enemies are even worse. You've got to protect yourself in life. The same burning greed that makes people loot, kill, and steal in emergencies like fires and floods operates daily in normal, everyday people. It lurks right beneath the surface, and when you least expect it, it rears its nasty head and bites you. Accept it. The world is a brutal place. People will annihilate you just for the fun of it, or to show off to their friends. Always hope for the best in people, but be prepared for the worst. Take off the rose-colored glasses. Be paranoid. Be very careful when you hire people. If you do not watch your back, they will surely rip you off. Do not worry about being liked. It doesn't matter if your employees like you or not. Be damned sure that they respect you. I used to say, hire the best people and trust them. Now I know better. Now I say, hire the best people and don't trust them. Points to remember. Do not have illusions. The world is a brutal place full of vicious people. Everyone wants to kill the fastest gun. Lions kill for food, humans kill for sport. Get some respect, and do not give a damn if people like you. Know your stuff, and you will command instant respect. Always dress for respect. Get the best people, and do not trust them. Only hire people with positive attitudes, and get rid of the bad apples fast. Inspire people with a powerful team spirit. Value loyalty above everything else. Forgive people for their first honest mistake. Never forgive a crook. Set high standards for people and expect they will fulfill them. Chapter 6. Revenge. I always get even. In the 1980s, I recruited a woman from her job in government, where she was making peanuts. She had nothing when she met me. I thought she was smart, and that under my mentoring she could be very good. She was a nobody in her government job and going nowhere. I decided to make her into somebody. I gave her a great job at the Trump Organization, and over time she became powerful in real estate. She bought a beautiful home. When I was going through tough times in the early 1990s, I needed her help. I asked her to make a phone call to an extremely close friend of hers who held a powerful position at a big bank and who would have done what she asked. She said, "Donald, I can't do that." I had taken her out of a dead-end government job. I encouraged her. I mentored her. I made her. And then she told me she couldn't do it. I got rid of her, and then she started a business on her own. Later I found out her business failed. I was really happy when I found that out. She had turned on me. After I had done so much to help her, I had asked for one favor in return, and she turned me down flat. She ended up losing her home. Her husband, who was only in it for the money, walked out on her, and I was glad. Over the years, many people have called asking for a recommendation for her. I only give her bad recommendations. I just can't stomach the disloyalty. I put the people who are loyal to me on a high pedestal and take care of them very well. I go out of my way for the people who were loyal to me in bad times. This woman was very disloyal, and now I go out of my way to make her life miserable. She calls, asking to get together for lunch or for dinner. I never return her calls. Over the years, I have made many people successful. Some are thankful for it, and some are not. Some have long memories and remember what you've done for them, even though they are no longer associated with you, but I find that most people forget. One interesting story that took place recently was about a young golf pro who was and is a fine player, but unable to get on the tour. He played the nationwide tour for a number of years, ultimately achieving PGA Tour status. His first few months on the PGA Tour he did very well, although since then he has not done well at all. Prior to his making any substantial money, I would let him practice and play at my highly rated course in Palm Beach, Florida, called Trump International Golf Club. For 3 years he would play the course, hit balls, practice, and thought of it as virtually his home course. When he arrived on the tour and made a name for himself, my head golf pro at Trump International, John Newport, asked me if it would be all right, based on all we had done for him, to ask him to wear the Trump logo to various PGA tournaments. It wasn't exactly the most important thing in my life, but I said to John, "Sure, ask him. I'm sure he'll have no problem with that after all we did for him." When John spoke to him, he said, "I'm sorry, John, I'll have to speak to my agent." So now I have instructed John, who was very surprised and in fact shocked at this, that after he is no longer on the tour, when he shows up for another round of golf and wants to play the course, just respond by saying, "I'm sorry, but we'll have to call Mr. Trump's agent for permission." Martha Stewart is another example. I was a good and loyal friend of hers. I helped her out after she got out of prison by promoting her TV show, The Apprentice Martha Stewart. I was not a big fan of her show to begin with, because I did not like the underlying idea, 2 versions of the same show. I thought it caused confusion. Still, NBC really wanted to try it. The Apprentice was doing so well, they figured, hey, let's do another one. The fact is, Martha, instead of taking responsibility for the failure of her show, blamed it on me. I did nothing but promote Martha. I said she was a brave woman and she was working hard. I did not see the show until it aired. When I looked at the show, however, I realized it was never going to make it, and she was terrible. Martha told everybody her show was supposed to be the only Apprentice, and that I had agreed to be fired by her on the air. That's just stupid. What moron would believe she was going to fire the guy with one of the top shows on television? The fact is, her show did not work. For some reason, Martha was not very good at it. She tried. She put in the effort. But she did not have what it took to make a successful show. In life, you have failures, and there's nothing really wrong with that. But when you have a failure, try not to blame other people. Martha's version of The Apprentice was a failure. Mine got great ratings. One worked, one did not. What I am really most upset with Martha about, though, is her ingratitude. I was her single biggest promoter. I promoted her on every show, and I said what a wonderful woman she is, and I still believe that. Never once did she thank me. Never once did she call and say, "Donald, thank you very much." I defended Martha many, many times, and I never got a note. I never got a phone call. One thing about life, when someone helps you, it's always nice to say thanks. I got tired of her attitude. Then, when her show failed, she blamed me on top of everything else. But rather than play dead, I went on the attack. I wrote a scathing letter telling her that she had only herself to blame for her tanked show. I wrote, "Your performance was terrible. The show lacked mood, temperament, and just about everything a show needs for success." I added, "I knew it would fail as soon as I first saw it, and your low ratings bore me out. My motto is always get even. When someone screws you, screw them back in spades." Sir Richard Branson and Mark Cuban also failed with their poor copies of The Apprentice. Richard Branson, who owns Virgin Atlantic Airways, is a good guy. He called me recently. But I have to tell you this story. Last year, I was upset with him, because he was doing a new show, a copy of The Apprentice, named The Rebel Billionaire, Branson's Quest for the Best. Nobody ever remembers the name of his show. 2 months before the show was going to air, he started promoting it with hot air balloons and media hype. They call him a billionaire, but how can anyone become a billionaire owning an airline? The fact is, he has other good businesses, but airplanes are expensive. There's too much competition, and ticket prices are too low to make a profit. I don't know how anyone could become a billionaire running an airline. Maybe that's why he wanted to do a reality show. Anyway, before the show went on the air, they interviewed him on Fox, asking him what he thought of Donald Trump. He's my friend. So he said, "Oh, he's great. Donald's a friend of mine. He's a great businessman and very successful. I respect him a lot." Then about 2 weeks before the show, some moron producer told Branson, "You can't say nice things about Trump. You have to say horrible things about Trump." Richard said, "Why?" The producer said, "Because you have to say outrageous things about him to get good ratings." Then, a week before the show went on the air, he said, "I like Donald Trump, and he doesn't like shaking people's hands." He had lots of bad things to say about me. It was bad enough that he was trying to knock off my show. Now he was insulting me on top of it. I vowed to get revenge. I didn't say anything about it then. I waited until his show went on the air. I did not want to attack him if the show became a big success. I didn't want to look foolish. Frankly, I did not want to help his ratings by giving him publicity. Finally, it went on the air, and it tanked, only getting 4.85 million viewers, and the critics hated it. The Washington Post TV critic Tom Shales called it silly, stupid, and ridiculous. The network quickly canceled the show. It was so bad. Now it was my moment. I went after that guy like crazy. I told the New York Daily News, I thought the show was terrible. The Apprentice is the hottest show there is. Richard Branson, your ratings speak very loudly, and you just got fired. When Cuban's show failed, I wrote a letter to the New York Post, stating that I could have saved him a lot of time and energy, in that I understand life, business, and television. Mark Cuban has absolutely zero television persona or personality. He's got the look